Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So because of the fact that the pro scene likes to play payload maps a lot, we talk about payload maps, their metas and tips and tricks going over stuff like that. But there is something we haven't spoken about for quite some time, and that is control maps and how to be effective on them. The last video we covered on such a tough subject was top 5 heroes to play on control, and that list has changed dramatically. So in this video we're going to go over some general tips and tricks on how to dominate control in ranked, especially if things aren't going very well.
The first thing to note is that control is often a completely different ballgame to typical payload maps, and you need to be able to spot problems as they're unfolding. There's a lot of pressure on control maps when you're not in control of the objective. The enemy's win percentage goes up over time, and the longer you leave it, the more likely you are to lose that round, of course. And we see a lot of people trying to contest the objective or just run back into the battle with the same composition over and over, gaining no ground, and then they don't change a thing. Check the on-fire system for what enemies are doing well, work out what's causing so many problems for your team, and just make something change. If it's a strong Roadhog, change the Genji for a Reaper, change your Mercy for a Zenyatta maybe to throw the Discord Orb on in. Be smart with your picks, and please, for the love of God, have a Lucio. It is essential on control. A lot of you should know this already, but I'm surprised at how many games I play at around 3k or over where people just refuse to have a Lucio as a support. Anyway, sometimes you can brute force yourself through a payload map with a weak composition, but the intensity and tempo of control is massive, and those weak links will break quicker than you'd imagine, and a lot quicker than in other game modes. So be on your toes, adapt and change things if they're not working, just like you would in any other Overwatch game and game mode. It's just a lot more urgent here.
Something that I don't think is utilised overall is checking players' career profiles. Through this you can get good information on the rest of your team and specifically what heroes they feel comfortable playing due to how much time they spent on them. Now a tip is to generally check the ranked thing, as somebody can have 70 hours of hands-on quick play, but if they're not playing them in ranked, it's a different ball game. You understand, if they're playing 4 or 5 hours of Lucio in ranked, then that's probably what you want them on. We had a very unique situation on a control map once where we were 2-0 down on Li Jiang, and the person we had playing Lucio wasn't comfortable with him at all. He said so himself. We checked the career profile and he had played Lucio for 20 minutes but had actually played Reinhardt for 57 hours across quick play in season 1 and 2. So we got him to switch to Reinhardt even though he's not really a favourable pick on these kind of maps, and we ended up winning the game. Every player in Overwatch has their preferred heroes, and sometimes you need to check and plan around them more than yourselves. That's why our general tip is to be flexible with your picks so you can play a lot more heroes, because there will be players in Overwatch that can only play Zenyatta for some weird reason. But do check career profiles, do see what players are playing, and adjust your team accordingly. You want the best out of your team, right? So that's the best way to do it.
We spoke about dive compositions in the video last week. Basically a team that consists of heroes that can jump on the objective and kill everything in its path. It might sound like every lineup should do that, but really this can get in the face of the enemy a lot faster than any other lineup, really. It's mobile and can chase enemies very well, but then compared to this we also have the slower moving teams that just cannot be moved from the point. For control, you want to make sure you have a balance of the two if you can help it. Running with a D.Va, Winston, Lucio and Mercy might be zippy and mobile, but would struggle to hold the point once they have it. So play Winston Zarya or D.Va Roadhog. Mix and match those mobile heroes with those immovable ones. Be aware of how top heavy your team is and what it may be missing. Playing Zenyatta and Mercy might seem like a good idea at some point because of all the damage and the res, but really, like I said before, Lucio is so effective and crucial on control. Playing with a Zen or an Ana, but Lucio does definitely shine on control. Each round on each map is also very unique in comparison to one another. What you play on the well area on Ilios may be different to the ruins area. We're mostly saying this because in a lot of normal games you sort of forget to change sometimes, and you might stick on one hero for a long time. We try to sort of bring this up more and more, but autopiloting in Overwatch is very easy to do, and it's not something you want to fall into. Just turn your brain on, so to say, because you need to actively start making decisions rather than just allowing yourself to fall into this autopilot mode.
Another tip would be to change stuff up even if stuff is going pretty well. I recall a ranked game that we lost pretty heavily where the DPS was switching between Tracer, Pharah and Reaper for each round depending on each section of the map we were playing on. But why did they do this? Well, the start of a new round is a good time to reflect on your team lineup and say, for example, this Tracer's given us all sorts of problems, let's get a Winston or McCree. But then when you get out the doorway and run to the point, you realise that there's no Tracer anymore, it's in fact a Reaper, and the Winston starts to struggle with that, for example. You've changed stuff around on your team in an attempt to shut the enemy down, and they're already a step ahead of you. In my personal opinion, it's a lot easier to keep an objective than to win it back, so that initial capture on the point means a lot. You can make a good start in terms of progress, and even if you do end up losing the objective, don't worry. They start from 0% and you have time to rectify and charge your ultimates. There's a lot of tactical prowess that can be put into your hero picks for control, so make the most out of it even if you are a couple of rounds ahead. Sometimes just sitting there and going, well, this team worked for the last 2 rounds, why don't we just keep it the same, can be a real problem, especially if you start to lose and you start to lose that momentum.
Last but not least is to not panic. There's a huge amount of pressure on you playing Control, especially if you lost about the 2 first rounds and didn't make any sort of capture progress at all. Tempers can be frayed, people can get very angry with each other, and some people even troll pick for the final round and just say that it's over. A telltale sign of panic is going in one by one. We've all done it, but just take a step back occasionally, you know the drill. Get on comms, spam the ping wheel a bit, and get your team to move in a direction and commit as a team. For the enemy team that are winning, that 3rd round might be approached like, oh, we got this last one will be easy, and that's really when you want to put more pressure on. I feel like I've had a lot of comebacks in Control actually. And sure, if you're on our YouTube channel watching our videos, listening to our tips and so on, I doubt at least most of you watching our trolls in game, but if 5 out of 6 people try to sort of pull it together, you can sometimes convince that troll to actually start trying again. It does happen, so don't let a 2-0 get you down.
So these are tips that will hopefully stay with you regardless of what heroes are strong in the meta and what Control maps come out in the future. Thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.